It's unusual to see dolphins living near a city, but today we visit Port River in Adelaide, where a pod of about 30 dolphins has made its home. Some people want to make the river a sanctuary for dolphins, and the state government is about to pass a law to protect them. But the river is also a growing industrial area, and plans to expand it have upset those who are concerned about the dolphins. Let's have a look.
It's a Beauty and the Beast story. The iconic species, the dolphin, living in the murky industrial waters of Port Adelaide. Whether there's a happy ending to this tale, though, is still to unfold.
Certainly extremely unusual for dolphins to be living permanently in an area so close to a city of 1 million people. All of the other cities have polluted and destroyed their environment so badly the dolphins have actually had to leave.
The name Mike Bosley has become synonymous with dolphins. He was named South Australian of the Year in honour of the thousands of hours he's spent on the Port River over the past 18 years, identifying individual dolphins and studying them closely. Dr. Bosley has been amazed by their births and too often suffered through their deaths.
I kind of feel like I've shared their lives and that they and I are kind of part of the same community now.
And it's an alarmingly high death rate that has seen him act as a driving force behind setting up official state protection for the species.
The death rate is only partly to do with direct human attacks. I think partly the death rate is also a function of them dying from diseases quite possibly caused by pollution. And I think the really important thing about the sanctuary is that it's not just protecting the dolphins, but it's also protecting the environment that they live in.
But just whether it'll do that is now the subject of growing debate. There's concern that as each day passes, more sewage sludge, factory waste and city stormwater is being added to an already toxic cocktail, and there are fears it may already be too late. But there's also another possible problem for the sanctuary. The port is also the habitat of an industrial community, and its members are just as eagerly awaiting an expansion for their survival. The plan revolves around the deepening of Outer Harbour to allow bigger ships into our waters. Flinders Ports hopes to bring in one of the largest dredgers in the world to begin the project in April, with a completion date pencilled in for November. But some groups, such as the Independent Marine and Coastal Community Network, are worried about the harm it could cause.
Well, it'll impact on the marine environment and seagrass beds and wherever they're dumping the spoil and wherever they're ripping the dredging, the spoil out, which is a range of seagrass beds which are important for fish and in the long term important for dolphins. So again, it's a balance, and in my experience, often the environment tends not to be weighed as strongly as it should be in making some of these development decisions along our coast.
There's no quick fix here. We're not going to suddenly get rid of industry, and we don't want to. I mean, this is an important part of the state's economy, and they can continue to coexist.
We don't know how close they've been driven to the edge. It may be that they're just hanging in here, and that makes the dolphin sanctuary even more important and more critical.
So this story is about protecting the dolphins in the Port River. The Port River is in Adelaide, South Australia. The government has decided to make the area a sanctuary. A sanctuary is a safe place. Let's listen to the beginning of the story again.
It's a Beauty and the Beast story. The iconic species, the dolphin, living in the murky industrial waters of Port Adelaide.
It's a Beauty and the Beast story. Beauty and the Beast is a traditional story about a beautiful girl called Beauty who goes to live with a frightening-looking man-beast. The word beauty describes something that's very attractive. A beast is an animal, especially a large or wild animal. But in this case, what is the beauty and what is the beast? Listen again.
It's a Beauty and the Beast story. The iconic species, the dolphin, living in the murky industrial waters of Port Adelaide.
The iconic species, the dolphin, living in the murky industrial waters of Port Adelaide. If something is iconic, it has the characteristics of an icon. An icon is something very famous that represents a set of ideas or a way of life. The dolphin might be called iconic because it's a very popular animal. It's come to represent marine life in general and the importance of marine and environmental conservation. So the reporter means that the dolphin is the beauty and the beast is the murky industrial waters of Port Adelaide. Murky means dark and dirty, difficult to see through. Industrial means related to industry. An industrial area has a lot of industry and factories. Industry refers to the companies and activities involved in producing goods for sale. Because of all the industry around the river, the waters are dirty and dark. The reporter says this is a Beauty and the Beast story because the beautiful dolphins live in dirty water. So how will this story end?
Whether there's a happy ending to this tale, though, is still to unfold.
Whether there's a happy ending to this tale is still to unfold. If there's a happy ending, the story ends in a positive way so that everyone is happy. The traditional happy ending for fairy stories is to say that they all lived happily ever after. Whether there will be a happy ending for the dolphins is still to unfold. If a story unfolds, it develops or becomes clear to people. So we'll have to wait to find out what will happen to the dolphins. Let's hear what the Environment Minister thinks.
There's no quick fix here. We're not going to suddenly get rid of industry, and we don't want to. I mean, this is an important part of the state's economy, and they can continue to coexist.
There's no quick fix here. To fix means to repair. A quick fix is a fast and easy solution to a problem. It isn't a long-term solution to a problem. There's no easy solution to the problems in the Port River.
We don't know how close they've been driven to the edge. It may be that they're just hanging in here, and that makes the dolphin sanctuary even more important and more critical.
He says we don't know how close they've been driven to the edge. To be driven to the edge means to be pushed close to a limit or boundary. Here, the edge refers to the limit of the dolphin's ability to survive. The dolphins might be only just surviving in the river. He says it may be that they're just hanging in there. Hanging in there means persevering or persisting despite difficulties. If you tell someone to hang in there, you mean that they should keep trying and not give up. But if the dolphins are only just hanging in there, then maybe they're not surviving all that well. Perhaps they're getting close to a time when they won't be able to survive anymore. Well, let's hope the sanctuary can help save the dolphins in the river. And that's all for today. If you had problems with any of today's words, don't give up, hang in there. There's plenty of help available on the English Bites website.